I'm batting down the hatches, folks. There's more Nintendo Switch 2 stuff being talked about, so we're going to talk about it as well because RGT wants a piece of that sweet YouTube ad revenue. And although everyone's kind of waiting impatiently for a Nintendo Direct and Sony and Microsoft really aren't talking about anything, Nintendo is here with a bunch of rumors and leaks and speculation about stuff, so we're going to go over it today. There's two separate things that I want to talk about. If this is your first time here, make sure you hit the subscribe button, like, comment, share, tell me you hate me for covering this. I don't really care. It doesn't matter at the end of the day. But here's what's going on. Now, of course, last week we had the big report about the whole Unreal Engine stuff running on Nintendo Switch, along with Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild behind closed doors at Gamescom for the Nintendo Switch 2. That's a video that we already made. Go check that video out if you haven't yet. I share my thoughts on all that stuff and what that really means for the future of the Nintendo Switch 2 and all that sort of stuff. But we actually got some more information on that Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild gameplay that was being shown running on what is potentially the Nintendo Switch 2, or at least a computer that is targeting Nintendo Switch 2 specs. Now, this information is coming to us from Nate the Hates, a homie of the channel, a homie in real life. I will have a link to their discussion video with him and MVG in the comment section down below. Make sure you're sourcing people when they're your friends at the very least. But they actually went on to talk about this Breath of the Wild game that was playing there and gave some more details about it with things like full 4K textures, DLSS, 60 frames per second as well. And so this to me sounds very impressive. This to me sounds like a complete, revamping of this game, because if you play Breath of the Wild, especially like in the Korok Forest and stuff like the game chugs, in these areas. Of course, this was originally a Wii U game that was brought over to the Nintendo Switch, but all versions had problems with things like frame rate and stuff like that. People just essentially gave it a pass because, well, it's running on a bit of weaker hardware. It's The Legend of Zelda. It's still a great game, so we're able to look past that. But when I hear things like 4K resolution, ray tracing, DLSS, 60 frames per second, I have to pose a question to you. And this is simply just a question. So don't get mad at me. Don't shoot the messenger, although I'm sure some of you would like to do that. Does that sound to you like a simple, graphical upgrade done to this game that you're going to get for free via backwards compatibility on the Nintendo Switch 2? Or does that almost sound like a revamping of this game and a new release of this game that is Breath of the Wild, that sold so many copies on the Nintendo Switch, one of the best-selling games of all time? Which does that sound like more to you? A free upgrade from the company that wants money, just being like, hey, you bought this game before, it's okay, here's a free upgrade to completely enhance the game and make it run and look and play better because of all the improvements that we've done? Or does it sound like a re-releasing of this game, potentially with all of the DLC? Do you see what I'm getting at here? I'm still not of the mindset that the whole backwards compatibility thing is an absolute lock. And I don't like it that people are like downplaying, oh, of course it's going to have backwards compatibility. Of course. Why? Based on what? Based on your feelings? Based on what you want to happen? Of course, I would love to have backwards compatibility, but when I hear a substantially enhanced version of Breath of the Wild running on this Switch 2 hardware or a computer targeting Switch 2 specs, I can't sit there and be like, this sounds like a free upgrade. Because the whole point of backwards compatibility is what? To play the old games. Now, yes, obviously Xbox has come along and changed the narrative somewhat with improvements done to older games, but that's Xbox. They have to do things like that. They had to do things like that during those time frames where they didn't have killer first-party titles coming out. And don't you think that people would spend money to buy a substantially enhanced version of Breath of the Wild that looks better, runs better, and plays better due to the fact that the frame rate is increased, that includes all of the DLC? I don't know, man. It's kind of spooky to me that people are so quick to write you know, the backwards compatibility argument off, that it's definitely going to be an actual thing. So I'll let you guys discuss it in the comments down below. Like I said, I'll have a link to the source video with Nate and MBG talking about that, because they talk about stuff beyond that. And as far as the next thing is concerned, we have to talk about what's going to be potentially the joystick for this controller. You might remember that Nintendo has a lot of Joy-Con drift as a result of just, I guess, oversight with the Nintendo Switch. I know there's people that swear that Joy-Con drift isn't real. I've experienced it 3 times, so it's real to me, damn it. It's still real to me. But a new patent was discovered that was just published on September 7th of 2023 that was initially filed back in May 11th, 2023. That's based on a patent from November 18th of 2020. So something that has obviously been worked on for quite a while. And this is all based on a controller. And when you look at it, it's sort of like a different analog stick. And essentially what this is doing is Hall sticks are the big thing right now because of how they pretty much negate any sort of Joy-Con drift with these new sticks. But this is actually Nintendo's kind of take on a Hall joystick, so it kind of remains to be seen if it's going to be potentially better or worse. It uses magnets, it uses liquid in order to sort of, you know, get the moving space that you will be moving a character on with this. There's lots of different stuff here, just, you know, a lot of different sorts of diagrams of what they're doing, such as the initial position, the displace range of the stick, meaning where you can move the stick left to right end, how it works with your fingers. It's all very intensive and stuff like that, but then you get into the nitty gritty of it and kind of what this is trying to do. And it sounds like a brand new stick coming to us from Nintendo, potentially for the Nintendo Switch 2, because I don't think they're going to use the same Joy-Cons that they used previously. And if you want to read all this, I mean, I could read it all to you, and we would be here for like a couple hours because I would make mistakes and then I'd have to re-record it and stuff like that. But really, the thing that you need to know is this is essentially a new stick, an analog stick, for a Nintendo product that is different from what we got with the Joy-Cons, that would somewhat, or should actually, I should say, alleviate Joy-Con drift entirely by using different mechanics such as a liquid and magnetic thing. So I don't know if this is going to be what the analog stick is. We haven't heard anything about that from Gamescom, because I'm assuming this was a docked system. Like, they weren't playing an actual Switch 2 handheld mode or something like that. They're probably playing a PC that is based on what they are targeting the Nintendo Switch 2 specs to be, because that's kind of how this stuff works, with a Pro controller, so they wouldn't know anything about this. But it's basically a controller that is displaced by an initial position by a user's operation, restoring force and imparting section, applying, I'm not reading all this, but basically there's a fluid in here that allows a magnetic field intensity, which becomes resistance when the operational element is displaced from to the initial position. So it's an analog stick that's using magnets and a magnetic fluid in order to do the movement of it. And I think that sounds very interesting. Will it be better than a Hall stick? You know, we can't really say. But all we do know is one thing. There's the Nintendo Switch 2 stuff. Like, you know, it's gonna be like this for a while, folks. Like, this is what happens when information gets out there and new hardware is on the horizon. I know people are wondering, where's the Nintendo Direct? It'll probably be announced tomorrow, and then it'll probably happen Thursday, but maybe it doesn't happen. Once again, that wasn't my information that I was presenting. That was me talking about what other people are bringing to the table as far as this. What's up with the state of play? Is that this week as well? I still think it's going to be a very busy week for video games. Regardless of any of that, there's going to be stuff happening. There's going to be stuff worth talking about, and I'm excited for it. I love the holiday season. I love all of the games that come out. I love all the news and speculation that comes out. So if you love it as well, be sure to hit that subscribe button. If you are new, we are on the road to 500,000 subscribers. We're trucking along, baby. We're trucking along. The biceps looking nice, been lifting a little bit. Hey, that's how we get down on this channel. Let me know what you think of all of this in the comments section down below. What do you think of this Breath of the Wild? Do you think it's just going to be a free enhanced port because Nintendo loves you? Or do you think that they're going to charge you money for it, as in charging you for the entire game, again with the DLC packaged in, much like they're probably going to do with Smash Brothers and Mario Kart 8 Deluxe? It just makes sense to me. And what do you think about this new analog stick? Is this something that you would be interested in? Let me know in the comment section down below. And as always, guys, thank you for checking out this video. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Later.